Hey guys, just over here working on the LT and I found something pretty cool. So I was going through the things that this thing had before, but what I didn't notice, I was looking through the build sheet the other day, and if you watch this left side over by the truck here, you'll see, what's that? We've got a tool setter. Yeah, so we got one probe there for the upper turret, one probe for the lower, and that's to work on the A side, fully automatic, so that could be used for like in-process tool break detection and things like that, or possibly wear comp. Then we also have it on the B side. So we'll go ahead and advance this one. And again, so we've got one for the upper, one for the lower turrets, and this is to reference on the B side, or the sub-spindle side. Problem I'm running into on this side is when I go to retract it, this cover's not going down. When I first found this yesterday, it was just because I was looking at the build sheet of the machine, and it mentioned that it had one. So I looked over, and I saw that cover in there, which before I thought was just like a cover for, you know, if you had the option, then you had the tool setter, but if you don't, then you have the cover that goes over it. The seller didn't advertise it in the listing, but it has it. So, yeah, I was messing around here, and I was like, oh, well, it's all bolted down. How does this thing open? And I went like that, and I was like, oh, that flips up. So, you notice the covers are missing off of each side. I had to pull those off because when I first ran it, I hit, you know, extend, retract, everything was fine, and then I wanted to see the parts catcher advance, so I hit that, but it didn't run. It came up with an error in the control saying that the tool setter was advanced and it won't operate the parts catcher in that position. So I was like, oh, that's weird. So I decided to operate it one more time, advance, fine, retract. Well, the door closed and then this retracted, so it crashed the arm into the door. So then I took this cover off to, you know, I figured it was something with the sensors of like where the door was and everything. So I unhooked that all. I pushed the air cylinder to where it's supposed to be just by hand, and then I got this fixed. And then I looked over to this side, and that's when I first noticed that this side had one, but it did the same thing, which is where I'm very confused. So it extended down like so, and then retracted, but this door closed, and then the arm crashed into it. So for some reason, the door worked when I first tried it yesterday. It went out of sequence, but like the door was actuating. It was closing on its own, and it failed. And then now that I have it repaired, I have it back in sequence, that way the arm's not crashing. Now the door's not shutting. So I thought maybe it's the homing switch, so they're the same on each side. So I took the one from this side, put it on the main side. The problem stayed with the right side, it didn't follow the sensor, so that just tells me that it's something, it's either not sending the information, or the information's not getting to the board, or the board's not sending it, or it's not receiving it back on this end. So the sensor is good, so it's either got to be, you know, the cable or something inside the control cabinet. I talked to Morris Midwest today, explained my problems. You know, someone answered right away, which is great, but it pretty much came back to the same thing. You know, it's either going to be like the cable or the board that it goes to. He told me what manual to look in and kind of what I was going to be searching for, so that's what I'm doing now. If you check this out, so this is what my electrical manual looks like if I'm looking at the I/O list. Here we have second sensor arm, cover close. I don't know if that's going to focus. Head advance, head retract, cover close. We followed that over to here. So I'm just putting it on my computer to reference. Putting it on my computer to reference, that way I can thumb through the book and then still have those things to look at, or when I find the page, and we'll go from there. Hey, so I don't know if this is going to be a great video. I was just I was just looking at the electrical manual, and I hear the air solenoid switch, and the door was closed. So I walked back over. It's like, huh. So I advanced it, okay, retract, and the door didn't close again. Well, I did is I hit this a few times, and it closed. So now I advance it. Now let's retract it. Top CNC mechanic right here. Alright guys, another update. So you saw this guy working, so I decided, okay, now I'm gonna try the parts catcher since I couldn't before. So now something similar is going on. If you want to watch, I don't know if you'll be able to see all that great. Try getting you closer. Advance. So you saw that go a little bit. If they retract, there's nothing. So I have to hit reset. Air valve switches. Now I can do retract. And it comes back this way. Advance. Oh, that time it did it without me resetting. Interesting. Well, let's see. So before when I would retract it and I tried advancing the touch setter, it wouldn't because it said the parts catcher wasn't back at home. So let's see what happens now. Parts catcher is not at the retract end. So we just faced this with the touch setter, now we have it with the parts catcher. It's saying that it's not at home. So I am pulling off this cover to see what it looks like inside, because obviously it worked before. The one thing I haven't tried is, you know, with it retracted, I could shut off the machine, turn it back on and see if it works, you know, since it knows that it didn't. Oh, we'll see. We'll try it out. Alright guys, cover's off and you gotta see this. So, this is what it looks like inside of there. Here's our sensors. It looks like a very sophisticated sensor mount there. You'll see where the piston is in the cylinder. That one doesn't look so sophisticated. I don't know what to think of that. Yeah, you can see a cable just kind of shoved in there. I don't even know. It's not the same sensor. So I wonder if the sensor went bad and they just plugged that in there and now everything's off because they shifted it around. Either way, this is, I think, where I'm gonna have to play. Obviously one of the sensors was working at some point. It's not now. It's not being triggered now, so I need to get that sensor to trigger. I'm gonna look in the manual and see what the sensor is supposed to be, and if it's the wrong one, maybe I'll buy the right. Well, frankly, if I could get this one to just trigger, we'll call it good. I'm gonna see if it's the right one. It had to have been changed out at some point, and then either they lost the clamp or the clamp didn't work on the new sensor, which is the more likely option. Again, as long as it works, I'll be fine with that. We'll get it strapped down some way or another. Maybe I'll come up with some more sophisticated way, like what are they called? Like a hose clamp, and I'm gonna 3D print to go around it, just to kind of match the contour, and that should probably hold it pretty good. But we'll see. I'll take the one that was replaced off first, and just kind of see where that ends up. The other thing could be, hey, this thing sat for quite a while. It was at some shop. Obviously it's a high production machine. The last shop that it was at, I was told that they had two Akuma guys there. They bought some more Akuma equipment, and then they both left. So I don't think they ever ran this one after it was there. If they did, obviously they didn't know about the tool setters. I'm willing to bet they didn't do any of that with it. So, you know, it sat for quite a while, had plenty of time for coolant to dry up, get gunky, get sticky. So even just might be, you know, spraying some water, probably not water, but maybe like WD on it or something to get it lubricated, and then that might free it up enough to actually get it to where it needs to be. The other one is, you know, it was triggered enough before, it triggered something before to allow the touch setters to advance and retract. I tried turning the machine off and on, and if you look here, you know, arm advance, we still have the same interlock condition going on. So that means that it was met. It must mean that it was met before, and it's not now. So I'm just gonna move those around, see what happens. If I could get the touch setters to work, if I move those around, that is great news. That means that it's just a matter of getting it to read where it's supposed to be. Yeah, if not, let's do a little more digging. But it was working before, so gotta be able to get it to work now. Alright guys, one more video before I go home for the night. Grab the flashlight here. There we go. So, we look inside of here. I cut this sensor off of the zip tie. You see it right there. And I've got this menu pulled up here on the screen. I'll show you. I was finding that when I was the cylinder was retracted. Let's start again. The cylinder was retracted and I hit extend. It would flash the retract on and off, and advance would never come on. And then I would have to hit reset and hit retract. Advance would never come on, retract would flash on and off. So that tells me that the sensor is just in the wrong spot. So, and it's got to be that most likely that way for both. We'll see. But let me show you. I'll take this sensor here and I'll just move it on the cylinder, and you can watch the screen as I move it up. Oh, now we're retracted. Not, now we are. Now we're not, now we are. So I'm just gonna 3D print, like I said before, a little cover on there that I can put a band clamp around. In fact, I might make it just so the 3D print itself snaps onto it. Maybe secure it with a bolt, I don't know. Obviously it's got to be something repeatable. It's you have to seal that cover, so it's not just easy to go in and readjust it. So I want to make sure whatever I do is reliable. But yes, I'm going to go design something for that, whether it's just a saddle for band clamps to go over, or it's a whole 3D print that just snaps on. And we'll come back, get that installed, get the sensors adjusted, and everything should work then. So yesterday found that the sensors were in the wrong place for the parts catcher, so that was causing an issue now with the tool setters. So found that one of them was replaced and it doesn't have the same clamping system. So I said that I was going to 3D print some mounts and check them out here. So here we have two different styles and 4 different ones overall. These 3 are the same size or style, they're just different sizes. This one's a little thinner here, so it's not going to clamp as hard. I did one that's thicker, and then one with this inside radius a little bit bigger in case it broke going over. So to test fit them, this one is actually for a band clamp. So if I don't like the fit of any of those, this one will just go around the sensor, and then it'll fit more securely with a band clamp. Make it really tighten that, make sure it'll never move. So fun look, it'll kind of go on like this. I don't know how easy it's going to be to show you. There, now we have the light on. But this will slip over this way, kind of go like that, and then sit against the cylinder there. So I would just got to follow it up to where it sets off the light on here, or the light on the control. As you can see here, as I walk this up to where it needs to be, it'll turn on, back off. So I want to get it right about to the center. The issue with this is it's putting the sensor pretty close to this bracket here. Turn this light off. Yeah, so that puts the sensor pretty close to the bracket. So we want to make sure that we put it in a way that it doesn't interfere with the bracket, and then that'll shove it around or potentially break it off. We also want to make sure the sensor's in a place where it's always going to trigger. And then we'll have to adjust the second sensor. So I'll set up and I'll show you the different fits of all of them and see which one we're going to go with. Alright, so let's go ahead and test the different styles we have here. First we have the band clamp version. So this will stick over here. And then on top of the cylinder like that. Right away there's an issue, there's a little bump out right here. So either I need to trim something in here to account for that bump, or 3D print another one, or just move it ahead on the sensor. Next is the smallest of these. It has the smaller radius, but it's pretty thin. Go. So what I like about these is they're pretty easy to move around and adjust. The other thing I don't like is that they're going to be susceptible to vibration. Shake it around, I mean, I guess once it's there it's pretty secure. We'll try out some of the other ones. I'd like to have the most heavy duty version that I can on there. Alright, so this is the heaviest duty one. That's not good. That little clip right there was coming off. Huh. This is the smaller radius and a lot thicker and more infill. So stick that the same way. We can go right in front of that bump I was talking about. I'll show you there. You can see the bump. Yeah. Clip it on the cylinder. Ooh. So let me tell you, that is really tight on there. So now the only thing is I'm pretty sure this sticks out past this wall. So then the question is, will it clear in that cavity or not? I could also move it to the other side. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm just moving it as much out of the way as I can there. And then now, that should be fine. Totally fine. Now we'll see. We're not hitting that bracket at all. So I think that's good. This thing is really tight here. I don't see that moving at all. I'm gonna see. I don't see that sensor moving at all. Leave it on there for a while and see how it goes. Maybe I'll throw something else on there to kind of help it out, but man, I don't see that being an issue. Yeah. So even here, I think I'll show you. If I just try wiggling this, and that is not moving at all. So I think that might be the right solution. We'll try going in and adjusting the other sensor, and then we'll I don't know, I guess we'll see what we can do with it. Alright guys, now I'm going to hook the cylinder back up to the parts catcher. I realized that setting the return sensor to the cylinder without being hooked up could put it in a false location. You know, once it's actually attached, it might not go that far or something, so it's best to set it up with the true setup. So, as you can see here, it's just, let's see, that snap ring comes off, that pin there goes into, pick up this all at once, into that. And then we could actually test at our full range of motion. I'll test it, I'll put it in retract, set the retract sensor, put it in advance, set the advance sensor. Alright, I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to see all this. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Just took the snap ring off. There we go. Pins through. Alright, so got the cylinder hooked back up. Ooh, I gotta go hook air back up again. Oh. So we can do the one hand. Apparently not. There we go. Alright, so quick look, our light is still on. It's maybe probably gonna run it up and down a little bit and see when it turns on and shuts off. We got that one on. Now we'll extend. Do we have anything there? No. There. I'll show you better. There we go. So we don't have anything at this sensor yet. So I think it's just loosen this Phillips screw, move it around until it lights up, try to get it centered, and and then we should be good. I think I might have a faulty sensor for the park catcher advance. You check it out here. So if I take the retract sensor, which is here, right, I can get it to read in various places over here. So that's telling me that's where the piston is, and it indicates it on this screen as well. But if I try running this sensor here, no matter what I do, I can't get that light to turn on. Nor can I get that screen to change. Might not be able to see it because of the light. Yeah, so I think this sensor might be bad. Turn this off. So I'll see the part number, see how much a replacement is. I might try swapping the two. If it costs enough just to verify that's the issue. I don't anticipate it's going to cost all that much, maybe like up to 50 bucks or something. Who knows, I might be surprised. Yeah, it doesn't match the one that was replaced previous, so obviously you can get other sensors to work. If it is faulty, I might just try to find the other one that does work and use the same thing. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm gonna trace down in the manual where that cable goes, and you know, maybe I can find a break somewhere or something like that. So found the wires are coming to the left side of the machine. I opened up this panel here. Yeah. And now you can see what it looks like inside of this thing from over here. So you got the upper turret carriage and everything. There's your Z going this way, X going that way, and then that 45 or 30 degree, that's definitely a 30. That's actually your Y, and it combines the X and that Y that's on not 90, and it runs those both at the same time to simulate 90 degrees. Looking over here, found this bank of connections, and within this bank was this bag. It's labeled touch setter sensor advance. Now that's not what we want, but I found two wires coming from the area we were working in, and one of them is to this. So I think I just need to find where in here we want to plug it to, and so let's refer to the manual for that, plug it in, and then just see if it works. Right, the bag is labeled touch setter sensor, and it says what? It said retract on it, and then they crossed it off and put advance. So I don't know, maybe they intended to have that at some point. Here's a weird one. They covered that up and like sealed it. That's strange. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem. There's a bunch of open banks here. Actually, that could be a problem. That might be where it went. Bunch of open banks here though, so I'm going to be looking at the manual, seeing where the parts catcher advance is supposed to go, and then see if I can find it, plug the one in there, and we'll test it. Alright guys, so found it. If we look over to here, we'll see unloader advance confirm. Camera's acting a little funny right now. I think it's auto stabilizing. That's not cool. Oh yeah, so unloader advance confirm, unloader retract confirm. If we look here, SQ82, that's the number that we found, and it's giving us X star dash XUISL star, and down here it says star is described in the input output signal list. So I'll take you over to that list. I'll keep this blocked off. So come over to this list and we'll see. Man, it really doesn't want to show this square. Right there, parts catcher advance. If we go over to this side of the list, we find it as XUISL2 X1. So now we go over to the machine and we look right there, and this one that's all boogered up and covered up, it shows X1 XUISL2. So that's definitely where it was hooked up before. For some reason they unhooked it, put it in the bag, labeled it incorrectly, and then sealed that shut. So I'm guessing there's something wrong with that. We're gonna hook it back up and see what happens. Best case scenario, it works. Worst case scenario, we have an electronics issue. We're gonna have to replace that part and maybe a couple others if it wrecks that. But let's try it out. We got it. So crouch down here. We'll see. Here's the sensor. Stick it on the cylinder. Oh, there we go. Sensor, stick it on the cylinder. Turns red. And if we go up to here, you can see it now say advance. Nothing. Advance. Nothing. So that works great. Now I gotta do a little bit of fishing. I don't know if you can tell from this shot, but in digging around trying to find which wire I needed went to that sensor, I accidentally pulled the other sensor through the other side. So now I gotta stick something in there and pull it all back. I might tie a rope to the end of this sensor, pull it through, and then pull both back through with one rope. I might try just sticking something through and pulling it through that way. I don't know, we'll see. But this is a huge plus. Alright, let's check it out. Here you can see this is the advanced sensor. It's now on the side of the machine, but it's attached to this rope, which is coming back through this hole. So now I'm going to attach this sensor here as well, pull it back through the other side, and then I can get those hooked up again. I'll make sure everything works. Alright guys, so got it hooked back up. Check it out. Let's see. Right now it's retracted. You can see the retract light on. If we advance it, it moves. The advanced light comes on without hitting reset. Hit retract. It'll switch back. Fully retracted. You can just keep going back and forth. Awesome. Now let's test if the other things are okay. So we were in here. We're gonna click out of that, click into touch setter. Right now, let's go to the left turret, or left spindle. Alright, so we have arm advance. That's coming down now, great. Arm retract. Closed alright, no crashing. Switch to the right spindle. Arm advance. And arm retract. And everything worked as it should have. So there we go. A day and a night working on it, and we found out we have tool setters, we got them working, we got the parts catcher working. I think I'm gonna throw the parts catcher on quick so I can show you guys that in action. Alright guys, last clip of the night, we got the parts catcher hooked up. So, check this out. Right now we're retracted, we'll go advance. Drops in to catch a part. Retract. Comes back out with a little flipping action there at the end. We'll catch it. There's a little something that hits here that kind of kicks it in to fling the part into the door. there you go. So we got it working. Thanks for watching.